Hello friends, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Beautiful, warm, sunny, finally springtime, Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And I am so excited today. I'm doing my last Facebook Live before I leave for the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to cruise the Norwegian fjords next week. So we leave Friday, and so this will be my last live for 2 weeks. So I won't be going live next week. I will be posting, sorry, I got a hair in my face and it's driving me crazy. Gotta get it out of my face. All right, there we go. I'm going to be posting as much as I can from the ship, depending on how good the Wi-Fi is. I may try to go live. I will see what happens, but I will not be doing my regular live at 5 next week. But I will be back, probably very jet-lagged, the day after we come back on Tuesday, May 30th. Okay? All right. So today, sorry, I'm a little croaky. I am all about this Circle Sayings bundle from the new Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. Now, this bundle was one where I kind of went, it's okay. I don't mind it, but I bought it because it has a new circle punch, and I am all about quick and easy. Circle punches are fantastic, and I have every one that Stampin' Up! Has ever made because they are just a really fast, easy way to pop images out without having to go to the die cutting machine. So I bought the bundle and thought, okay, well, I'll for sure use the punch. I may use some of the sentiments from the stamp set, and that was it. Well, of course, I started playing with it, and wouldn't you know, I've fallen in love with it. As always happens with Stampin' Up! Products, I just have had so much fun playing with different ideas with this bundle. So I have 3 cards I'm going to show you today. One is a super cool fun fold that I just learned, and then I have some other samples, and we're going to get to it, okay? So let me pull up my video here on my iPad and see who's joining me. You may hear some banging and meowing at the door. Stella is outside the door. She's very unhappy that I have locked her out. I'm the only one home right now. Usually when I'm doing my lives, my son is home, but he's not home today. And so it's just Stella and I, and Stella has to be wherever the humans are. So the fact that I am in here and she's on the other side of that door has left her very unhappy. And she is certainly letting me know about it. So if you hear a cat meowing in the background, don't worry. It's just Stella letting us all know that she is out there and not in here with us. If I open the door, she'll be right up on my desk. So don't anybody suggest it, because you'll be looking at Stella's head probably more than my project. So let's get to it. Who is here? Whoops, I just lost my comments. There you are. Okay, so we've got Deb. Hi, Deb. Hi, Sonia. Thank you for sharing, Sonia. Hi, Krista. Hi, Jill. Hi, Linda. Poor Stella. There is nothing poor about that cat, let me tell you. In fact, we got her call from the vet. She's due for her, annual checkup and her shots and everything. And my husband's like, I think we need to wait till after we come back from the trip so that maybe she loses a pound or two, because we're going to take her and we're going to get in trouble because she is gained just a little bit of weight over the winter, eating and sleeping and nothing else. So now that the weather's a little bit nicer, she goes out and runs off a little bit of a few calories, and John's like, maybe she'll lose a pound while we're gone, and then we'll be able to take her and he won't get yelled at by the vet. So that's the plan. Don't tell the vet. All right, let's get to it. I am going to, hi Judy, welcome. I'm going to flip my camera and we are going to get to some stamping. So let me do that. Whoops, sorry, you're looking at my hand. Every time I update Facebook, everything moves. All the buttons move to a different spot. And I end up having to relearn. I'm sure by the time I get back from my trip, it'll be changed again. All right. That looks pretty good. Make sure we're straight. Okay. Oh, there's my shirt. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So the Circle Sayings bundle is on page 17. It's one that you probably easily bypassed. It's not like one of those jump out at you, wow, that's an amazing bundle kind of bundles, but let me tell you, it's got some fantastic images and sentiments, and they all fit inside this new 2 3/8 inch circle punch. Okay, it's also Jessica Taylor's $1 Million Sellers set, and Jessica was actually a table mate on the Greek Isles incentive trip back in the summer of 2019 that I took with my family. So Jessica is lovely. She's wonderful. She actually watched out for Max the one night that we weren't able to be at dinner, and so this is her $1 Million set, and I think it's a great set, and I'm going to show you why. So here we go. Alrighty, here we go. There is our stamp set. These images on the stamp case are actually smaller than in real life. Okay, you're going to notice that. They're at 85%. Okay, so in order to fit everything, all the artwork on the case, they had to shrink it all a little bit. So everything that you see on the stamp case is actually reduced to 85% of the actual size. Okay, and then of course we've got this awesome punch. Works well with our other circle punches, which are online exclusives, and you can layer really nicely. Okay, it also layers really well with the stylish shape dies. You're going to see that on my projects today. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. First card we're going to make is this pretty one. I just felt like making something really soft and pretty and girly, and I am loving the new Bubble Bath shade. Who is loving that with me? We have been needing a soft pink for so long. So I was so excited to see that color come in, and love, love, love it. So we're going to start. I've already punched the circle. So using that 2 3/8 circle punch, I just find it easier to work with the circle already punched when you're trying to make this floral circle here. Okay. Because the stamp image, let me pull out the stamp set again, is a semicircle. So I just find it easier to have the circle already punched, and then I know it's all going to fit inside the punch circle, if that makes any sense. All right, so we're going to start with our Bubble Bath ink, and I'm going to ink up that floral image with the Bubble Bath ink, and then I'm going to come in with Fresh Freesia, which is a perfect complement for Bubble Bath, and I'm actually just going to come in and add with my dauber a little bit of Fresh Freesia around that sort of outer edge of my little floral circle here. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp, and you're going to see that we're going to get this lovely sort of shaded ombre look. Isn't that pretty? Oh, love it. All right, and then we're going to ink again and repeat the same process. So a little bit of ink all the way along that outer edge. And I find it easiest to just flip the image around and stamp again. And then we get that gorgeous, isn't that beautiful? It's like a floral wreath. So pretty. Love the design of this stamp. All right, so that is most of the stamping. We're going to stamp our happy birthday, and then the rest of this card comes together really, really quickly. So I've got my smoky slate ink here, and then we're going to ink it up. Now you'll notice, do you see how sort of where the image sort of meets, it's not perfectly round. This is a little bit more elongated as opposed to this. So this image fits quite nicely on that elongated section. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp it in there. If I tried stamping it this way, it would actually touch the flowers. All right, I'm just mentioning that so that when you go to try this, you go, how the heck did she do that? You just have to rotate it a little bit. Quarter turn. Alrighty, so now it's just a matter of putting everything together. So I mentioned earlier that this punch works really well with the Stylish Shapes dies. This is the second largest circle from the Stylish Shapes, and look how beautifully that layers behind that punch. So perfect. It's like Stampin' Up planned it. Hi, Laura. Welcome. I love these colors too, Krista. They are making my heart happy. So there we go. My garden's kind of this color right now. I've got lots of spring flowers and the soft pinks and purples happening. All right, so now we're going to bring in a basic white panel. It is 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and I've embossed it using one of the Basics 3D embossing folders. This is another online exclusive. You won't find them in the catalog. I think they're mentioned in the catalog, actually. But in order to find the product information and ordering info, it is in my online store. Okay, so this is a pack of 3 3D embossing folders. It comes in the pack of 3, and this is a gorgeous, it looks like almost like a starburst or floral print. Super pretty. And we are going to layer some of that fabulous DSP that I was featuring last week as part of the Bright and Beautiful suite. So these are just a couple of patterns from that pack. There are so many patterns in that pack. And of course, Fresh Freesia and Bubble Bath are 2 of them. So this piece is cut to 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to center that on the front of our card, or front of our panel, I should say. It's not a card yet. It will be soon. So I'm going to just bring this down and then center my little panel here using my grid lines to try and keep this straight-ish. that's not very straight there. That's better. Okay, and then this little piece is 1 1/4 by 5, and we're going to notch some ends out of this. Now, where are my scissors? They're behind me. I was using them for prep work. So I'm going to, because this is 1 1/4, it's a little bit wide to fit in our banner punch. So we're just going to do it by hand. So I'm going to cut up in as far as I want my notch to go, and then I'm going to turn it from one corner into that little slit that I cut, and then to the other corner. And that's how you get a nice even banner end. Okay, so same thing on this end. Cut in as far as I want. One corner. And the other corner. And the trick with this is to hold your scissors nice and stable so you get a nice straight cut. You don't want a wavy banner point. Okay, so that is going to get glued just down the center there. So we'll add a bit of adhesive. Hi, Joyce. Welcome. So we're going to pop this on, centered down the middle there, just like that. Okay, and then this is going to get layered on a piece of Fresh Freesia cardstock. It is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's going to just layer behind there. And because this is, ooh, we got to trim this. This is a little bit on the long side. We don't want that overhang happening. So if that happens, sometimes it happens because the 3D folders emboss so deeply, it actually causes your cardstock measurement to shrink just a little bit. And that's when you get that little overhang. So you just take and trim it off. I'm going to put my adhesive, see, this is what happens when you go too fast. And if I had done that on my embossed panel, I would have ripped paper. So this is why I like to put it on my smooth, unembossed layer so that I don't accidentally tear it, because I'm always in a hurry when I'm crafting. I don't know about you, but I've always got another idea coming, so I want to just hurry up and get this one done and get on to the next. All right, so then we are going to layer it on a bubble bath card base. So this is a half sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock, 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half along our score line. And then add, this time I am going to leave some liquid glue just so I can get this nice and centered on my card base. So we'll pop that on and wiggle it into place. Okay, now to put, before we put our focal image on, we're going to add a little bit of this fabulous ribbon. This is a favorite, and I was so happy to see that it is sticking around. It is no longer in the catalog. However, it is another item that has moved to online exclusives. So this has been in the catalog for a couple of years. I use it all the time. And it has not retired. It is still available, but again, only in my online store. Okay, so we're going to start. I'm going to just create a Z across the back of my circle here. I've just applied some seal. So I'm just going to lay my ribbon across. I'm going to bend it back and across again. And do you see how it makes a Z shape, or a Z if you're in the US? Okay, and then we're just going to take and trim it off. So I'm going to cut it at an angle, and then I'm going to cut the end at the same angle. So I want to just try and keep that same angle as I did on the bottom end. Okay, now we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of that. I know, Laura, isn't layering fun? Wait till you see the other project I'm going to show you. Holy cow, I went a little crazy with the layers. Sometimes I need somebody like sitting on my shoulder saying, okay, that's enough layers. 7 is enough. I get a little crazy with the layers. All right, so we're going to pop this on nice and centered on our little banner piece. And then I've got a little bow here that I found just laying on my desk, so we're going to use it. We will add a wee glue dot and pop that on just in that bottom right corner of the circle, if there is such a thing. And then I'm going to use some of my go-to adhesive back sequins. We have lots more options now in the catalog for these sequins. I love them because they're nice and flat, they mail really easily, and they're pretty and blingy, and what's not to love about sequins, right? And they're self-adhesive, which makes them really easy to use. So we're just going to take and add a couple of these, and the color of these is like between Bubble Bath and Fresh Freesia. It looked like perfect for this card. They were made for this card. So there we go. Done and done. Now I'll show you on the inside of my sample here. I added a stamped image, the Celebrate Because You're Awesome, on the inside. So isn't that a fun, pretty birthday card? So that is number 1. Let's get that out of the way. And we're going to move on to number 2. Number 2 is the one I posted earlier today. Let me just make a bit of space here. I'm feeling a little cramped in my work area here. I got too many things all in the same area. Okay, here we go. So this one, I just started playing with this wave image. I just thought I really love the image, and I thought, what can I do with this image? Well, it pairs so beautifully with the seashells, right? So I thought, okay, let's work with that. And I love the kind of beachy vibe that this has going on. I didn't make this with the intention of giving it to my son, but he is pretty awesome, and he's actually opening in a play at school tomorrow night. So I'm going to get to go and see opening night. That's the only night I'm going to get to see of his performance, because Thursday night I need to be at school for an event, and then Friday we're flying. But I'm going to make this for him for closing night. I'm going to leave this for him to open after his show closes when we're not here. So let's get to going on this one. So we're going to start working on our card base. So I just want to show you, this is a piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. And if I lay my finished card over, can you see how this is just a little bit darker? Okay. So I was playing around with color, and I initially had thought I would use Pecan Pie, but it was too dark. So I decided to just take my Crumb Cake and darken it down a little bit. So I'll show you how I did that. So we'll start. This is 5.5 by 8.5, half sheet of cardstock, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we are going to fold that in half along our score line. Hi, Claire. I love the beachy feel of this one too, Kathy. I would like to say I'm going to be on a beach, but I don't think there's too many beaches in Norway. That's okay. I'll be looking at mountains and rivers and waterfalls and glaciers. So we are going to darken down our Crumb Cake cardstock by sponging it, or blending a little bit of Crumb Cake ink on it. Okay, so I'm just going to take my brush. I folded my card base in half, so I'm only inking the front of my card. I'm not worrying about the back side. And I'm just going to come on, and you're not going to see a huge difference in color. Here, I'll do one side, and hopefully you'll be able to notice. It's a very subtle change. It just darkens it down. Can you see the difference? Does that show on the camera? I'm not sure if that will. But this side is a little bit darker than the side I haven't blended yet. And that's just, again, to add just a little bit more depth of color to my project. So I'm just going to finish the other side. And then we're going to stamp. I just like the extra little bit of warmth that adding that layer makes. Some of you may be going, I can't even see it. Honestly, in real life, you can. Take my word for it. It does make a difference. All right, so there we go. Just blend it down. I'm not worrying too much about the center because obviously that's going to be covered. So then I'm going to come in with my seashell stamp, and I'm going to use my Crumb Cake ink, and we are going to stamp along. Now I'm going to actually just bring in my DSP piece here for a second. This is a piece of the, again, Bright and Beautiful DSP. We're going to be using this Azure Afternoon side, but I am going to just lay this wrong side up along the front of my card to get an idea of where I want my seashells to go. All right. So I'm going to stamp and rotate my stamp so that I get a little bit of a border effect. I don't really want it to look curved. I want it to look like a shell border. Okay, so by rotating my stamp, can you see that we get that nice border effect? So we're going to rotate our whole card base, and I'm going to get this on here. I'm not really worried about it getting it super straight because we are going to add a layer behind the DSP that will hide any little oopsies. So again, we're going to come across. Let's do that guy, and then we're going to rotate this way. Oops, didn't get the full starfish there, but that's okay. And we'll just get that little guy there. Okay, so then when we layer, you're going to see we're going to add a layer behind it. We get that seashell border. Isn't that a cool way to use that stamp? Easy peasy. All right, so to finish layering this, we're going to add our DSP again. This was 2 by 5.5. Right, it's going to go across the front of our card. I have a piece of crushed curry cardstock that is 2 1/8 by 5.5. So we're going to layer this. It's going to be flush on either end and a narrow little border top and bottom. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll layer that on here. Just like that. Okay, I'm just going to wiggle it into place, make sure I get nice even borders. There we go. And I'm going to be really brave and glue this on before I stamp my sentiments. Okay, now some of you may be going, oh, she's crazy. But maybe I better not. This is live video. I am not going to be that brave. I'm going to chicken out and I'm going to stamp before I glue. When I made this card originally, I actually was going to do the sentiment on a label, but then once I put it together, I thought, no, I can just stamp on the DSP. It'll be perfect. And it was perfect. But because this is a live video and anything can go wrong, we're just gonna pretend we have our circle glued on there to get the positioning of our because you're awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and I wanna snug this right in close to my circle. See, I would have been fine. But you know, if I had glued it on, something bad would have happened and I would have had a mess. So better safe than sorry, right? All right, so we're gonna glue this on to our card front. We'll add a little bit of adhesive here. And pop this on. I think Stella has finally given up. I haven't heard her in a little while. She's probably laying on the floor outside the door waiting. And then when I open the door, I'm gonna get an earful. You watch. Oops, that's not very straight. Let's see if we can get that on straight. That's better. Okay, so there is our card front. Now we're going to work on our focal image. So I have just a piece of scrap white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp my wave image in Memento black ink. So we're going to ink that up and stamp. Okay, it's such a beautiful image. And then we are going to punch. Now again, we're going to punch before we color. I often punch afterwards because I like to have a larger piece to hold when I'm coloring. However, as you can see on here, we're actually going to color out to the very edge of the circle. The image does not go right to the edge of the circle. So you'll see that when I punch here. Do you see how we center the image? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and center it and punch it out. And then we're going to color. So to start, our wave is going to be colored using Azure Afternoon. So we've got dark and light. Love this new blue. Oh my goodness, I'm using it so much. It's such a fresh, bright blue. Makes me happy. So I'm going to start by coloring my wave here. I'm going to leave the foam at the top of the wave white. And I'm just going to come in and color this whole section with the light Azure Afternoon. Okay, I'm going really quickly, big strokes. And then I'll come around and do the top part. And just kind of come out right to the edge. Okay, then I'm going to come in with my dark, and I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of shadow along some of the lines on the image, just like that. And then again, I'm going to come in and blend it out. So this is my light once again. And we're just going to pull that ink out and blend it. Isn't this a great blue? Absolutely love it. And honestly, I thought I was really going to miss Pacific Point. I don't. This one has very quickly taken Pacific Point's place. All right, so to color the sky and the sun, I started with light Daffodil Delights. We're going to color the entire area in the light daffodil. So I'm just going to come in again. I'm going to use really big strokes here and fill it in right out to the edge. Okay. I'm not really worrying about being super, super careful. I just want to get that first layer down so that we can do a little bit of shading here. Then I'm going to come in with my dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to follow some of these rays of the sun. I'm not, again, being super careful, and again, I'm coming out a little bit past the ends of the image here. And then I'm going to come in with my light Wild Wheat, okay? And it is going to kind of come in right next to the sun and radiate out from there. Okay, so just a little bit of a deeper golden yellow. And then I'm going to come back with my light and I'm going to blend all of that out. Now I'm not going to spend a ton of time blending the sun because we're going to do something else with the sun in a second. But I am going to blend out those shades of yellow so we get this golden sunshine effect. There we go. Okay, now for the sun, we are going to take a little bit of light pumpkin pie, and I'm just going to kind of come in around the edges of the sun and just add a little bit of the light pumpkin pie around the edges. And then I'm going to come in again. Whoops, colored my wave there. That's okay. That's what the blender pen, not blender pen. What's it called? The one that takes the ink off. you do an oops with your blends. Can't think what it's called right now. My brain is moving in 5,000 different directions these days with everything I have to get done before I leave. So I've just come in again with a little bit of the dark daffodil to darken down my sun. And that's it. Easy peasy, except for my little yellow wave there. We'll take care of that later. So we're going to go ahead. Color lifter. Thank you, Krista. No twiner bows. I know. Well, this is a man card, right? So I was trying to keep it manly for my teenage son or whoever. And I did bling though. Couldn't resist the bling. Boys like bling, right? What's not to like? All right. So we're going to go ahead and layer this. This again is the Stylish Shapes second largest circle die cut from Azure Afternoon cardstock. All right. And we're going to pop this up on the front of our card. Couple of dimensionals. Get rid of our backings, and we're going to pop that on right about there. And then I'm going to come in with my Wink of Stella. This probably won't show on the camera, but I am going to come in and just add a little bit of Wink to that crest of the wave there, just like the sun is reflecting off of it. Okay, and that's it. On the inside, kept it super simple. I wanted it to be for any occasion, so I left it blank without a sentiment, but did stamp some more seashells and did a little bit of ink blending on the inside. All right, so there we go. That's number 2. Okay, 2 fairly quick and easy ones. This last one is not quick and easy. It's a fun fold. Those of you that are part of my Stamping Symphony have seen this one. This is one that Barb Peffer, who is a Stamping Symphony member, demonstrated at our team meeting last week, and I absolutely love it. So it folds flat for mailing, but it stands up. Each little panel here stands up. I don't know why my phone is ringing. I'm hoping that I did not lose my signal. Am I still live? Yes, I'm still live. Okay. I was really worried there for a sec. Look at how adorable this is. Who would not love to receive this for their birthday and have it standing on their desk or their table? Now, the cool thing too is it opens and it's a full-size card. So it opens up and you still have a space to write your greeting. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. I've done a lot of the work ahead of time. Those of you that know how this card is put together know it takes a little bit of time, but I have done all the work ahead of time. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. All right, I'll tell you that for sure. So when you are prepping, again, I'll put all of the measurements up afterwards. So you need 4 pieces that are identical. This is 2.5 by 3 3/4. So you need 4 of them. And then you're going to score in the middle at 1 7/8. Yes, 1 7/8. Okay. Then you're going to, I'll just bring in my trimmer for a sec to show you how to do this step. So you're going to take your score line. You're going to line up from the score line at the bottom of your panel and line up the opposite right corner, top right corner. So bottom center, top right, and score. Okay, you do that on all 4 panels. And what you end up with is something that looks like this. Okay. All right. So how do we do this? Well, then we are going to need 4 pieces of 1 3/4 by 2 3/8. Yes, 1 3/4 by 2 3/8 DSP. So as you can see, I've already glued them on 3 of my panels. So I'm going to do this 4th one. So I'm gluing it on the side that doesn't have the diagonal score line. So I'm going to glue it on that side. So we're going to go ahead and add our glue. and center that on that side panel. Okay, so now I have 4 panels that are all the same. Okay, we've got our diagonal score line going from the center up to the top right corner on all 4 panels, and we've also got our DSP glued on. So then we're going to fold. So I'm going to fold that center score line in just like I'm folding a book, closing a book. Okay, then I'm going to, and I have to think about this, I always have to think about this, take this diagonal score line and fold it inwards as well. Okay, so I'm going to fold from that center score line up to the top right, just like that. Okay, so you're going to end up with something that looks like that when you close it. So you're going to do that on all 4 pieces. So I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to fold along that diagonal. Okay, same thing again. The nice thing, because there's 4 attempts at this, you get really good at making these little panels here. Okay, and then one more for a 4th one, and that gets glued on like that. Okay, so we end up with 4 little panels that all look exactly the same. Okay, all right, so then you will have to cut 4 additional panels that are 1 7/8 by 2.5. So it's essentially the size of half of this. It's a half sheet of this larger panel that we cut. Again, you need 4, and then you need 4 pieces of complementary but not the same DSP. Again, 1 7/8 by 2 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I've already done 3 of them, but I'm going to go ahead and glue my DSP on this remaining panel here. So we'll center that on there, just like that, nice and straight. Okay, so now I have my 4 panels here. Okay, all right, so now what I'm going to do is take my little book fold panel here with my folded diagonal. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to put glue. So I've got the diagonal score line on top. Okay, I'm folding it sort of the opposite direction that I would close a book. So I'm going to put glue on this bottom triangle only, so that when I glue this on, it is going to layer perfectly over top, but it's only going to be stuck to this bottom triangle. So we're going to go ahead and add glue just to that bottom section. And then I'm going to layer this little panel. It's exactly half the size of the large one, so it's going to layer perfectly over top, just like that. And you'll see that I only have it stuck to that bottom triangle. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. So I've closed my little book here, added my glue, and then layer one of these little panels right on top. Okay, 2 more times. In case you caught it the first 2, here we go. A little bit more glue on that bottom triangle, and layer on top. And I've got glue trailing off the edge there. That's not good. Needs to be tidy. Just make sure that's nicely centered. Okay, and last time, we're going to add a little bit of glue. Ooh, I'm getting carried away with my glue. I'm going too fast. And we're going to layer that on there. So that is our last panel. So now we have 4 panels that all look exactly the same. All right. Then I'm going to bring in a piece of white cardstock. It is 4 by 5 1/4, so it's, you know, standard measurement. And these little guys are going to get glued onto that white panel. Now, the trick here is you want to make sure they all open the same way. Okay, so they're all opening up to the right. Okay, so they all open this way. So once I get them kind of arranged where I want them, I'm going to glue them down. So again, I like to use the liquid glue just so that I can wiggle into place if I need to. Holy cow, I'm sloppy with my glue today. I need to slow down. All right, so we'll start with 1. And you're going to have about an 1/8 of an inch border. Okay, and then I'm going to do my second one. I'm trying to be careful with my glue now. I'm not using enough figures. All right, I just want to make sure they're aligned, top and bottom, and about an equal border. Okay, and then we're going to do the top one. I'll add this guy right about there. And the last one, right up here. Okay, and again, I just want to make sure I'm taking the time to get them nice and straight and centered. So now I have all of my panels. Did I do that one right? Oh, I was worried there for a sec. Okay, so they're all popping up the same direction. Oh, look at that. That one's nuts. Gotta save it. Gotta save it. Can we save it? Oh, and of course it was the first one I glued on, wouldn't you know? After I told you to make sure they're all, to be careful that they all open the same direction. This is what happens when I talk and stamp at the same time. Let's see, can we save it? I think we can. Keeping in mind that we're not going to see much of this cardstock. All right, let's try that again. Woo! That was close. All right, so that has to open this way. Let's get that back on there and hopefully straight. There we go. Okay, now they all open the same direction. Oh, that was close. This is the importance of checking. Don't do what I did. Check. All right, so now we have just our regular card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll go ahead and fold in half along our score line. Okay, so our card is going to open just like a regular card, but this panel is going to sit on top, centered on the front of the card. All right, so again, I'm going to use liquid glue so that I can position it where I want it. So we're going to set this on here and center it on our card front, just like that. Okay, again, all of my panels open the same direction. This is good. All right, so with any easel card, we have to have our little catch here to catch our easel. So I use some of the smallest balloons from the what are they called? Beautiful Balloons is the bundle. And I featured this bundle last week and I love it. And I still had it sitting on my desk. So I thought, why the heck not? Would I not use that? So we're going to add some dimensionals to our balloons that are going to catch our easel. So what I like to do is I like to open it up and then pop my balloon on so that I can see exactly where it's going to go. And that way I can check to make sure that they all open equally. So I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to do this guy next. So I'm going to pop my balloon on right about there. Okay. And then another one. We'll do this guy back here. Pop our balloon on. And one more. We'll do a green one. Lemon Lime Twist is the green. Lots of new colors on this one. We got Lemon Lime, Berry Burst, and Bubble Bath. Okay, so there are our easels. Now I wanted, one balloon looks funny, I thought, so we're going to add some extra little balloons here. These ones I'm not going to pop up. I'm just going to kind of tuck them in behind my popped ones. And add just a little extra festivity here. Pop this guy on here. And then what am I going to do over here? Another Berry Burst. We'll pop this one on. Let's close that for a sec, just so it's out of our way. Pop that one there. We're going to close that one. And we'll do a Bubble Bath. Pop that one on. All right, about there. Okay. So those ones that I glued flat are not going to hold our easel. It's the ones that are popped that are going to hold it. Okay. The flat ones are just there to kind of decorate a little bit more. All right. So now it's just a matter of decorating each little panel. So again, I cut a whole bunch more balloons and we're just going to decorate our panels with balloons. So I am going to layer a Berry Burst and a Lemon Lime. Now the trick here is you want to make sure that whatever you're putting on the panels pretty much stays on the panel. You don't want it hanging off too much. So I'm going to add a little bit of seal here and layer those, and then I'm going to layer them both onto my panel here, just like that. Okay, and then on the back one, we're going to do a little bit of Lemon Lime and some Bubble Bath, right about there. And again, we're going to layer that back here. And then one more, we're going to do a Berry Burst and a Bubble Bath. Berry Burst Bubble Bath. That sounds like something Bath & Body Works would sell. We're going to add a little bit more glue, and that's going to pop on there. Okay. Now, the panel that's going to have our focal image is going to have 3 balloons, because I thought, why not? Now, for this, I'm actually going to glue them directly onto the panel, just to make sure that everything fits, because 3 balloons is a tight squeeze. So we're going to add our 3 right on here. One more. Just like that. Okay, so there are our balloons. Now, where does the circle sayings stamp set come in? Here we go. I'm using the cupcake image from the circle sayings stamp set. I've already colored 2, but I wanted to show you how I colored this last one. So for the cupcake wrapper, I'm using dark and light lemon lime twist. So I'm going to start just coming in with my light, just sort of across the middle, really. And then I'm going to take my dark and add just some sort of random shading here. I'm going to darken sort of the edges and along the bottom, just like that. And then also the inside of the wrapper, just that little bit that's showing. And then I'm going to come back in with my light and just blend that out. And I'm kind of leaving the top part unshaded just because I kind of wanted it to look like it was crinkled. Okay. For the icing, actually, I'll do the cupcake itself. I wanted chocolate, devil's food chocolate. So I am using my darkest SU 100 of the skin tone blends. It makes a lovely dark chocolate brown. So I'm using that to color my actual cupcake. And then for the icing, we're going to have a nice pink and fluffy bubble bath icing. So I'm going to come in with my light bubble bath, and we're going to add just some quick shading to that. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with my dark and add my shadow just sort of along the folds of the icing here and a little bit along the bottom. And then again, with my light to blend that out. And there's my yummy cupcake. Okay, so the cupcakes are going to go on with some dimensionals. So we're going to go ahead and add some dimensionals to the back of each one. So we'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, and a 1, 2. And then each cupcake is going to get layered in front of the balloon. So I find it easiest to do this while the card is shut, and that just helps me get them kind of all positioned in approximately the same spot on each little panel here. So there's that one. And one more down here. Okay, and then this panel with the 3 balloons is going to be for our sentiment. So I have a little banner that I've die cut using the Stylish Shapes dies, and I have my happy birthday sentiment. I'm going to find my black ink. There it is. I don't know why I have an extra balloon. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp our happy birthday on our little banner. Just like that. I love these sentiments. They're so cute. The fonts are adorable. And then this is going to get popped up on the front of our card. Now, you're going to notice, I'll show you on my sample here, to see how this hangs over the edge, okay? It's not a big deal, but when you are going to close your card, you have to make sure that this panel closes first and then this one, okay? Otherwise, if you do this one first, that won't lay flat, right? So you want to make sure that one closes, it kind of tucks in behind, okay? That's the only thing. If you're going to have anything extending, then it kind of, you have to make sure you close it in the correct way for it to lie flat. So we're going to center this over our bottom panel here, just like that. And then we're going to add a little bit of ribbon. So I have some of this fun lemon lime twist 1/8 ribbon, and I'm going to tie an itty bitty bow with this ribbon. Yes, dark chocolate cupcake. Exactly, Deb. I'm starving. Lunchtime at our school is at 10:45, so by this time of day, I am quite hungry. I just heard my husband come home. We have takeout fish and chips. We're kind of getting ready for Norway and England, London. So I kind of had a hankering for some fish and chips. So he has come home with it and is probably eating it as I speak. He doesn't tend to wait for me when I'm doing my lives because sometimes they're longer than others. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a glue dot to my little bow here, and it's just going to go right sort of at the point on my banner. And then the last touch is some more bling because, well, every cupcake card needs bling. Just going to close that glue before it dries up. And so I added my bling to my balloons here. So I'm using those same pink sequins I used earlier. They are magical. They work with so many different color palettes. I love them. So we'll just add one here. And one more over here. And then the last little touch is a bit of Wink of Stella on our balloons. So I just kind of put like a little bit of shine on my balloon. I didn't cover the entire balloon with the wing, but just enough to catch the light and make it a little bit sparkly. Because why not, right? There we go. All right, so that is our finished card. I'll show you what I did on the inside of my sample here. I just added a white layer. I stamped my Celebrate and then another cupcake on the inside, because why not, right? The more cupcakes, the better. All right, so those are our projects for today, but let me show you a couple of other ideas. I'll bring these back first, okay? So if you watched my live launch party, you saw me make this card. Super quick and simple take on that same cupcake stamp. This one uses that seashell stamp, and I colored with my Pretty Peacock blends to create sort of an ocean look. Love Pretty Peacock and Crumb Cake together. Such a great combination. And then this one uses Pecan Pie, and I've stamped just the seashells along the very edge to create sort of a textured border here. And I've used DSP from the Let's Go Fishing pack because I thought it works really well with the seashells. So I stamped my seashells on this one very similarly to the way I stamped my flowers on this one. Okay, sort of a circle of seashells here. And then fussy cut the sentiments. So there you go. There are some ideas with this fun card. Oh, Tracy, you're already on summer break. Don't tell me that. I've still got 5 weeks to go, but 1 week of it is going to be in Norway. So I think I can make it. So that is it for tonight, ladies. That is it for the next couple of weeks. I will not see you next week. I will be sailing the Norwegian fjords and sharing as much as I am able to with you. But I will be back for the very last Live at 5 of the month of May when I get back. So please plan to join me and enjoy. Stay safe and happy stamping for the next couple of weeks. Okay? Bye for now.